Hey guys, Hypnotist Jaden Boon here, and I'm with Rebekah. And today, guys, we've decided to start making, a series of videos to really help you guys out. So we want to start talking about a wide variety of different topics, mindset, hypnosis, and really help you to, change the way that you think, feel, and act, and start to experience life differently. And we know that there is, a lot of anxiety in the world at the moment, and there is a lot of people out there struggling, and depression is one of those things that does come in hand with anxiety a lot of the time. So I guess we wanted to make these videos to start to help people realize what they're doing inside their mind and the way that their mind works, so that you can start to experience every situation in your life from a completely different place, which will then, impact the people around you, your family, your friends, and also start to allow you to create the life that you want to have. Because what's stopping you from having that life right now? And as a lot of my clients would say, and something that I found out a very long time, the only thing that's stopping us is ourselves. We hold ourselves back and we stop ourselves from going after the things we want. So as I said, we wanted to create these videos to help you guys to think differently and really help you to move forward in life. So today, the topic that we've picked to talk about is anxiety, because the way the world is at the moment, we know that there is a lot of people out there suffering, struggling, and it doesn't have to be that way. People living in fear and uncertainty. And as I said, we wanted to make these videos to give you some tools and strategies so that you can start to change your mindset, the way that you just experience things on a day-to-day basis. So anxiety is a very important topic, and as I've said, it's impacted a lot of people's lives. It's something you've experienced in your life. And for me too, for many years, even thinking about it, even just this morning, I experienced anxiety probably, I can remember it back in primary school, but I wasn't aware at that young what was actually happening, what it was, what that feeling was. And, a lot of us do think that we experience things differently to other people, even though we are very much the same and experience those same emotions and feelings. But a lot of us think that we're worse off than others, or our mind is so much more entangled than others, or we've been through much worse things than others. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you've been through. You can always turn it around and use those life experiences to help you to move forward, and that's what I've done, and even for yourself and all the clients that I work with as well. So again, getting back on topic with anxiety, what does anxiety feel like to you? When I experienced anxiety or had anxiety in the past, what would be the symptoms that you get? Like a racing heart?
Yeah, racing heart, uncertainty, feeling a bit nauseous.
Struggling to breathe.
Yeah.
Some people like sweat, sweaty palms, and for some people, it goes so far as panic attacks. And some people have actually been taken to hospital in an ambulance because it's been described as feeling like a heart attack. And if you're letting that anxiety spiral that much out of control, then you need to start taking control of that anxiety. Because what is anxiety? What is anxiety? How would you answer that question?
Well, for me, I'd probably answer that with the description of how it makes me feel.
Yeah, okay.
So like the sweat, the nauseous feeling, sometimes headaches as well, a combination of all those kind of things.
Yeah, definitely. And also, anxiety, so the way I describe it, anxiety is just a fear of the future or a fear of the unknown. And what a lot of people don't understand is we actually create that experience. It becomes a habitual pattern, because at the time that you did anxiety for the first time, it served a purpose. It fulfilled a need, because at the end of the day, our mind has two goals. That's it. And, one is to keep us happy and one is to keep us safe. And when you're in those situations, your mind will always remind you, and it will create that feeling to keep you safe and protected. Look at it like this for an example. Say you've gone into the kitchen and you've turned all the hot plates on, or you turn one specifically on, and you didn't exactly pay attention to what hot plate it was. So you stick your hand on each of the hot plates to check, and your hand gets sizzled, right? So what happens in that moment? Your mind takes a snapshot of that very moment, and in future, if you come into contact with anything similar, your mind will flash that image inside your mind very quickly to warn you and to remind you that there's danger, and to keep yourself safe and protected. And that's all anxiety is. You could look at anxiety as like a overreactive guard dog or an overreactive car alarm, so that alarm goes off every time someone walks past the car, rather than when someone touches the car. And what's happened is it's built up a oversensitivity in your nervous system, which has been brought on by life experiences. So things that have happened, and you start to have those anxious feelings. And when you start to have those anxious feelings, we add to it, and as we know, it's very hard to do anxiety without self-talk. So when we're experiencing anxiety, a lot of us are internally having self-talk. So when you're experiencing that, what are the sort of things that you're saying to yourself?
You're not good enough, you're going to fail, people are going to judge you.
Right? And these things are created in your imagination. So they're not real. You're creating a perception inside your mind that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, that you're not lovable, that you can't do it. And you're experiencing that feeling inside your body, right? So your mind is connected to your body. So if in your imagination you're creating that worst case scenario, your mind doesn't know the difference between real or imagined. So whether it's real or whether it's imagined, your body is going to act as if it's real. And let me just give you a quick demonstration on how that works, actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how the mind impacts your body. So this is an exercise that I do with all my clients. You guys might have even seen it before, but what I'm going to show you is how your imagination affects your body. So feel free to do this for yourself at home. We're going to do it together here now, because as I said, what I'm going to show you is how that imagination will impact the body, whether it's real or whether it's imagined. Your body will respond as if it is real. So a very good exercise that we do to show people their imagination, their level of suggestibility, is an exercise just like this, where we interlock our palms and our fingers, and we push our palms together comfortably, just like that. Now you don't need to go overboard, but just where they're comfortable. Then I want you to extend your two index fingers about 1 inch apart. So separate these two index fingers about 1 inch apart. Now I'm going to click my fingers, 1, 2, 3. Imagine those magnets powering up, pulling those fingers in closer and tighter, pulling, tugging, tugging and pulling those fingers in closer and closer, tighter and tighter, pulling and tugging, tugging and pulling, all the way in until your fingers eventually come together and touch. Now that happened very quickly for Rebekah, happens quickly for me and majority of my clients. Now again, that exercise is simply showing you how that when you create an idea in your imagination, because there's not magnets there pulling your fingers together, but you told yourself in your mind that there are magnets there, so that influenced your body to act as if your fingers are magnets. So when you're experiencing anxiety or any other, problem or negative experience that you're having in life, it's all controlled by your imagination. So let me ask you this. Up until how long ago were you experiencing anxiety all the time? Is anxiety still something that impacts your life massively now?
Probably up until 14 months ago. I still get it occasionally from time to time.
Of course, because we're all human beings with emotions, right? And
yeah.
in my opinion, some other people's opinions believe that you can get rid of anxiety totally. In my opinion, I don't believe that you can, because Anxiety is put there to keep you safe and to protect you, right? But when it stops you from doing the things that you want to do, getting up on stage or moving forward or saying no to that person or yes to that job, whatever the case may be, if it's having a negative impact on your life, that's when you need to do something about it. But sorry, as of 14 months ago?
Yeah, probably about 14 months ago, that's when I started to see a big shift, when I started to really allow myself to move forward, I suppose, and how to manage everything a lot better, how to get rid of a lot of the bullshit from the past.
How did you do that?
We did a session.
Okay, so this was before we were in a relationship together?
Correct.
Okay, and we did a session together, and you know, you are my partner, yes, but how do you, honestly, you know, from the bottom of your heart, how do you think that impacted your life, and what do you think was the biggest thing that changed for you, I guess?
It changed my life dramatically. Well, I was quite depressed, very, very anxious, didn't want to do new things, didn't want to do old things, didn't want to see people. I was sleeping a lot during the daytime. I had a new job, but I still was not feeling comfortable within myself to do that job. And then we did the session, and a lot of that shifted. I still get some of those things from time to time, but I know how to manage them a lot better now. So I was also on antidepressants, and I went completely off of the antidepressants. That was by my choice as well. And then we did the session to help with everything for that. I made that choice. I made that decision. I wanted that for myself.
So when we did the session, we did that pretty much content free? Majority of it was, did we?
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, when we did the session, did we specifically tackle anxiety? Did we go after anxiety?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay, what would you say that we worked with or towards? Not specific events, but more so
getting me off the antidepressants.
So more so the emotions.
Yeah, I wanted to get off of those because I felt numb, basically. So I was on them for, I think it was 2 years. I wasn't feeling happy, I wasn't feeling sad, I felt very plateau in myself. I couldn't experience emotions, basically. So I knew there was more in emotion and in life. And I felt like I needed to get off of those to be able to experience those. So I think that really helped me.
And what made you go down that path in the first place? Would you say that you were, you know, very miserable or hurt in your own life?
The path of being on antidepressants?
Yeah, like before that. So when you were on it, you couldn't experience any emotion. But before you were on it, how were you feeling then?
Before being on the antidepressants, I was feeling very suicidal, wanted to drive my car into a tree. Every time I was going to get close to doing it, the only thing that really pulled me back was the fact that I've got a daughter, and I didn't want her to be without her mother. So that was one of the main reasons that I didn't do that. And then I didn't want to have to even feel those things anymore. I didn't want to have to feel the guilt of wanting to feel that way and her not have to be without a mother as well. So I knew there was more. I wanted everything to change. So the doctors said that antidepressants were a really good option. They did the psych exam with me, did everything that was necessary, and then went on the antidepressants, felt good for a little bit, and then felt numb.
Yeah, and you know, as you can see that, you know, a lot of the things that we experience in life are attached to these negative emotions from the past, and you know, a lot of these things, you know, come through those life experiences. And yeah, for me, it very, very similar story. You know, I experienced a lot of anger, a lot of hurt, a lot of sadness in my life, and yeah, it was to the point where, you know, a lot of people get to that point where they just think enough is enough. And it's not that I necessarily didn't want to be here anymore, even though that's really how I felt at the time. It was more of, how can I make this pain go away? I'm just sick of waking up every day suffering. And, you know, at the time I was very depressed, very anxious, and, you know, I was a smoker. And for most of us, you know, whether we're addicted to TV, you know, whether we're addicted to drinking alcohol, whether we smoke, whether we take drugs, you know, they're just a symptom to a bigger underlying issue. And, I did use cigarettes as a coping mechanism. I wasn't sleeping, I didn't feel like eating, and, I just went about trying to cope in life and manage my anxiety by smoking. And, it doesn't matter what it is, people will always try to find an escape from their emotions, and these emotions from the past and things that we've been through can impact our life dramatically. And whether you guys want to believe it or not, an emotion only lasts in our body for 90 seconds. 90 seconds. So if you experience something in the moment, road rage or anything, something happens in the family and you instantly get fired up or angry, that emotion is only lasting 90 seconds, but the rest of the time, what you're doing is you're replaying that in your imagination. So you play it over, and you play it over, and you play it over, and you play it over. And a lot of my clients, and I even found this for myself, that they come to me and they say all the time that as I get older, it's getting worse. Well, how can that be, when it happened so long ago? Because what happens is every time that they access that memory or they think about it, especially if they are already angry, so if you've got all these memories inside your mind that make you angry, every time that you access one of those memories or you think about that, all you're doing is you're sprinkling a little bit more of that anger, that sadness, that frustration onto that event. And majority of the time that memory is already 50% distorted or changed to how it actually happened. Some people will go, this is how it happened, and you go, no, it wasn't. I remember it like this. Because we all are experiencing it now through our imagination, and that memory is already distorted. It's changed. It's not how it was. And, as we access that memory over the years and course of our life, it begins to change, and we begin to add stuff and take bits away and really add to that experience of feeling that emotion. Did you say that was true for you as well?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And let me ask you this. So that sadness, that hurt, that pain, the guilt, the shame, whatever emotions come to mind for you, where are they gone now?
They're just gone.
They're just gone. And that's the beauty of this, hypnosis, hypnotherapy, tapping into the power of your own mind. Whether you want to believe hypnosis is real or believe it's fake, I totally understand it. I was a skeptic myself. I didn't believe it one bit. Rebekah, she didn't believe it. And most people don't. And I understand, because there is so many misconceptions about it. It's not what people think it is. And, something that's spoken about a lot is we actually dehypnotize you, because right now you have beliefs, and all hypnosis is a belief that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, that you're not lovable, that you need to be angry, that you need to be sad. And I'm going to dehypnotize you. I'm going to help you to change that belief, because everything that we do in life is wrapped around our beliefs. And if you believe you can, you can. And if you believe you can't, you can't. And you will always be right. So it's got to be a choice that you want to make to let go of the past. Because when you let go of the past, it's so much easier to move forward. Now, yeah, we did a session, and what can you describe what we did? So just letting go of those emotions. What did we do? How, in your opinion, was that easy or was it hard? And
really easy.
Really easy.
Really easy. Like you said, I was a skeptic. I watched a video of my dad being hypnotized on stage from many, many, many years ago. I used to watch as a child over and over and over again. So I'd seen it, I'd known about it, always still skeptical. I know you tried to get me going on a podcast prior to that as well, and I put it off. And then I was like, okay, let's give this a go.
Let's try it.
Yeah,
we'll give it a go. Let's see what happens.
Yep.
I don't know. I'll go in with half an open mind. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. Let's see what happens. Like most people, even including myself. And when I went and did this for myself to stop smoking.
Yep. Within 2 minutes, I'm pretty sure I was out of it. Probably not even that long.
Yeah, and again, right, so Rebekah had never ever been hypnotized before, and as she said, within 2 minutes she was deeply hypnotized. So, yeah, again, whether you want to believe that or not, you know, we can even demonstrate that now, but I'm sure you guys, if you follow me, have seen the other videos. But, you know, everything, anxiety, feeling miserable, depression, they become habitual patterns. You become so good at it, you practice it every single day. You know, you wake up feeling miserable and you stay in that state. And, you know, we're in the world of 2022 where, you know, information is everywhere. You know, there is that many books and that much knowledge and resources out there, you know, including YouTube. The amount of things that I've learnt off YouTube, you know, every day of my life, you know, more people spend more time researching their problems. So whatever your problem is, if you spend more time researching that problem and understanding it, the more better off you would be. You know, I see a lot of the time people are putting stuff on Facebook and being miserable day in, day out. And it's like, that time that you're investing to put up that status to complain about something, that's 10 minutes that you could have spent watching a video about that problem. So what is the problem that you're experiencing right now? Is it anger? Is it depression? Is it anxiety? Is it fear? What is it? Is it uncertainty? You know, these are all emotions that we all experience through different things in our life. And, you know, even for myself, you know, I used to hate, as much as I was a class clown, I loved attention. I grew up around the circus, juggling, magic, all eyes on me, wanting the attention. But when it came to certain things, I didn't want that attention, if that makes sense. So like I came to a presentation at school where you get up and present your poster or whatever, and I'd take the day off school, or I'd skip that class. I would always find a way out of it. And, you know, my mum always said to me that, you know, I think you'll be on stage, and I never saw how that was going to be possible. I was like, I don't know, I was scared to be in front of those people. Public speaking, I had a fear of public speaking, I guess you could say. And, you know, it's through hypnosis, it's through changing my beliefs, it's through, you know, changing my self-talk and telling myself that I can. You know, one of the biggest things that I heard, and this is one of the single biggest things that changed my life, is that you can be scared and do it anyway. Like, I've jumped out of a plane 6 times. Is it still scary when you're up there hanging on the outside of a plane while you're strapped to someone? They're still inside the plane hanging on, and you're outside flapping in the breeze. And, you know, in that moment, you're scared shitless. I mean, I was, you know, that fear was there, but you want that rush, you want the thrill of knowing that you've done it, because everything that you want is on the other side of that fear. And if you don't start to expand your fear bubble, so if your bubble's this big, if you don't do things that scare the shit out of you, your bubble is never going to expand, and you'll be forever small, not achieving the things that you want. Let people walk all over you because you'll be scared to speak up or say what you think and feel. And, you know, you've got to do the things that you want to do. You've got to push yourself outside of that comfort zone and
stop feeling trapped.
Yeah, stop feeling trapped. Because, you know, when I got into this hypnosis thing, and, you know, you guys have probably heard the story before, how I got into it. I went and saw a show, I was a skeptic. Went and saw another show, I was a skeptic. Then I went and saw another show, and my partner at the time, she volunteered to go up on stage and remained on stage for the whole time. And in that moment, I was like, wow, this is real. I couldn't believe it. My mind was blown. And, you know, finally I had that evidence, that proof that it was real. And it's like, if I can see people up there doing these crazy, silly things, imagine what else you could do with this. And, you know, it was only, it was probably maybe 10 years after that. So I walked out of that show and I said, I'm going to learn this one day. And yeah, for all those years, I did absolutely nothing. And it got to a point where, you know, I was so miserable, so unhappy in my own life. I hated my job. I was so miserable, you know. I didn't have a good connection with my family, and, you know, I lost a lot of friends, and yeah, I was so miserable and so unhappy, and I was at a point where it's like there has to be more to life. There has to be. You can't just wake up every day feeling miserable, depressed, suicidal, go to work, come home, cry, smoke cigarettes, and just live. That is not a life. And I see so many people stuck in that. And I got to the point where I said, you know what, enough's enough. I've got to make a change, and I've got to do it now. And yeah, I was scrolling Facebook one day and I saw an ad for Stop Smoking Hypnosis. And I went along, paid the money, and I walked out of there a non-smoker. And the feeling that created, it's amazing to know that you've made a change, you've made a difference, you've started taking the steps to improve your life and to be the difference that you wanted. Because there's no point continuing doing shit day in, day out that doesn't make you happy or doesn't make you feel good. And, when we waste money on smoking, and not to mention the impacts that it's having on your health, we know that every cigarette is doing you damage. You've probably seen the ad a million times, and it really was. My health was suffering. I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, and I was living off cigarettes. I was waking up every day vomiting because I had that many chemicals inside my body that my body was just saying, I can't take this anymore. Stop. And as we know, the smoking was to help with the other underlying issues. So when you deal with those other underlying issues, and this is for people that, want to go on a weight loss journey, people that want to get off drugs, for people that want to stop smoking, when you deal with those underlying issues, that's when you can let go of that need or that desire for whatever that thing is. Because, as I said already, our mind has two goals. One's to keep us happy, and one is to keep us safe. And every behavior that we do, whether it's positive or negative, it's serving an intention. So for me, the smoking was helping me manage my anger, my frustration, my anxiety. Every time I felt anxious, I would reach for that cigarette. And for most of us that experience extreme anxiety, the cigarette doesn't help. So you have another one and another one and another one. And that feeling, your heart racing and that energy pumping around your body just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And when we smoke, it adds to that because it spasms, clogs and restricts your arteries, the blood flow and the oxygen going around your body, which what? Increases your heart rate, which increases stress. So when people say that a cigarette relaxes them, it's like with anything. Everything is just based on the story that you tell yourself. So if you tell yourself that it's doing this, then it's going to do that, isn't it? Or if you tell yourself this, it's going to do that. Most of us have a belief that the sun is going to set this evening and it's going to wake up again tomorrow morning. And, most of you would put $1 million bet that that's going to happen day in and day out for the rest of your life. Now, what if you took that belief and you added it to things like you can do anything that you want? What if you had a belief that you could do anything you want? If you had a magic wand right now and you can make any problem disappear in your life, what is it that you would do? Or what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Because that's most people's problem. Looking silly, stupid, or feeling like they're a failure or that they're not going to achieve the things that they want to achieve. But again, failure only comes when you stop trying. Everything is just a matter of feedback. If something didn't work, you do something else. If that didn't work, you do something else. And you keep doing something different until you get to where you want to be, which is how I have absolutely dramatically changed my life around. I promise you, I came home every day miserable, suicidal, depressed. Actually, I'll bring this up. I've spoken about it before, but I actually tried to take my own life in front of my ex-partner when she tried to leave me because I was so miserable and so unhappy. And, to want to take your life over another person, it's It's the dumbest thing that you could do. It is honestly. There is a million fish in the sea. But when you have no self-worth, you have no self-love, and you don't care about yourself, it's the only way that you know how to make that pain end. And, one of the biggest things, and you probably hear it all the time, is that happiness starts from within. And it took me so freaking long to learn that. If we're forever looking outside ourselves for things to make us happy, another person, that car, that job, what happens when that shit's taken away from you? Say Rebekah leaves me, or my car gets taken away from me, or this gets taken away from me, all these external things, what's going to happen? I'm going to feel deflated, defeated, and I'm going to go back to being miserable. But when you're happy with your life and the things that you have, and you genuinely care about yourself and love yourself, then that's when you get to experience life from a completely different place. And everything that we say in this video is literally a matter of opinion. It's just our belief or my belief and my model of the world. And, these are the things that help me to move forward. Because I was stuck for many years. I genuinely was. I was so unhappy. My family situation, my relationship situation, my job situation, but only I could get myself out of those situations. And that's the same as you guys. Only you can get yourself out of these situations. And it doesn't matter what you've been through in life. It doesn't matter how traumatic or how bad it was. No one deserves to go through those things. No one, should ever go through some of the things that I hear or that my clients tell me or come to me with. But it's through our greatest pains in life that become our greatest lessons and our greatest blessings. Because if I wasn't a smoker, if I wasn't depressed, if I never experienced a high level of anxiety, I wouldn't be able to help, educate, and speak to my clients the way I do. And, I only made this connection a few months ago, and, it's so true. Everything that we do in life, every decision that we make, every decision that you make is pushing you to where you want to be, believe it or not. So if you're miserable and unhappy now, just know that everything is temporary. It can change, and it can change quickly. Like Rebekah said, for her, it was within a matter of minutes. And for myself, it was a matter of minutes. It can change very, very quickly. But you've got to want that for yourself. You've got to want that change. You've got to make the investment. You've got to make the effort. You've got to start to do things differently. Because when you're depressed, anxious, unhappy, again, it's just become a habitual pattern. You've practiced it so well that every day you're running off that old program, that old negative software that's making you feel this way. And as I've said a million times, those things can change very, very quickly. But you've got to want that. For me, like I said, it was, anxiety, depression, smoking. I was angry, aggressive. I used to break things. I used to punch holes in the walls. And, I'm not proud of that person, but that was where I was. And, things have changed. And honestly, yeah, I'm so happy with where my life is, and that I made the investment and the commitment to myself to want to move forward and to want to be a better person and to have a positive impact on people's lives, because I used to have a negative impact on people's lives. I used to really hurt and upset people with my behavior and the way that I used to view the world. I used to hate the world. I used to hate everyone. I used to hate everything because of the things that I went through and experienced, and the sitting there going, why me, why me? And, like I say to my clients, and maybe this will resonate with you, you've probably heard it before, why the fuck not? Why not me? Why not you? Like, why not? And again, that's one of the biggest things that we all go through, is that, most of us think that we shouldn't have problems. but our problems are what help us to get better, to grow, and to start to get resourceful so that we can start implementing and creating new things in life. You know, our imagination and our thought processes are very, very powerful. So yeah, going back to before with the anxiety, if that's created in our imagination, so for most people, you know, I use this example a lot with my clients. So if they come in, they say, I experience a high level of anxiety. Okay, so for most people, I say, okay, if I asked you right now to get up on stage and speak in front of 1,000 people about your favorite topic, would you be able to do that? And they'll go, oh, no way. So in that moment, when I ask them that, what picture or what movie are they experiencing inside their mind? So that inside their mind, they're experiencing themselves up on stage and they're either stuttering or tripping over their words, or they don't know what to say, or they feel like they're going to look like an idiot, or no one's going to care what they have to say. And inside their mind, they're creating that picture, they're having all that self-talk, and then that brings a feeling to your body, and then it's that feeling that if it's a nice feeling, what's going to happen? You're going to do more of it. If it's a shit feeling, you're going to do less of it, right? So if it's something that you want, if you want to start to inspire and educate people, how are you going to be able to do that if you're shit scared? And, you know, this was something that I experienced for myself, even doing Facebook Lives, talking to the camera like I am now, getting up on stage. They're things that I never used to be able to do. But now it's important for me to do that, because the more that I share my message and help people understand that change is honestly easier than you think. And that's what most people think. People think change is hard, and it's not. What's hard is staying fucking miserable for the rest of your life. But change isn't hard. Change is easy, and change can happen in a split second. Because I'm sure there's beliefs that you guys have had that you no longer believe. You found out the truth. And I'll use this example, which I use all the time. Look at it like this. Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy. These are all beliefs that you had. What happened? You found out the truth. In that split second, that moment, that belief changed and you let it go. And that can happen with any belief. You know, some people say all the time that I'm so tired, I'm sick of carrying that weight around. Let me use this little example, right? So if we take this bottle of water and I sit here for the next 5 minutes and I just hold this bottle of water out, what's going to happen? Eventually the lactic acid's going to build up in my arm's going to start to get tired, and over time my arm's going to want to get pulled down, dragged down, because it's going to feel as if the bottle's getting heavier. But the bottle isn't actually getting heavier, but you just carried that shit around with you for so long. And like I say to my clients all the time, want to lighten the load? Let it go. Let it go. You've got a choice. You can hang on to it forever if you want, just like I could. But I wouldn't have been able to create the life that I have now. I wouldn't have a business. I wouldn't be on stage. I wouldn't be able to educate people. I wouldn't be able to talk to you guys about what's happening inside your own mind. I would still be hanging on to all the shit from the past. And the biggest and the best thing about, you know, doing a session or going through hypnosis or hypnotherapy, you don't even need to talk about the events that have happened in your life to create that change. And that's where it's very, very different to talk therapy. You know, you can just about solve any problem without even actually knowing what it is, because I'm helping people tap into their own mind. It's not mind control, it's not manipulation. And at the end of the day, your mind, the deepest part of your mind, your subconscious mind, it knows how to resolve these issues. But most of us don't understand that. And that's why it's important for me to get this message out there, to share with you guys that it is possible, that things can turn around very, very quickly. Now, we were going to leave this for some other videos, because I want to start giving you guys some tips, some strategies, some exercises that you can do that can start to change your life dramatically. But what I will do is I'm just going to give you a short, quick demonstration on how easy it is to let go of emotions from the past So if someone comes to me and they say, I've experienced trauma, or I had a client just recently that was hanging on to some anger from 1975. 1975. When you let that go, what is that going to do for you? Because when you hang on to these emotions, what happens? It creates depression. Depression is depressed emotion. So what is it that you're not expressing? So when you have these built up emotions, these trapped emotions inside your body, what starts to happen? Your immune system goes down, you sleep shit, you start to get headaches, you don't feel like eating. Some people go the opposite, some people want to eat more. You create disease in the body, physical aches and pains, cancer, whether you want to believe it or not. Hanging on to these emotions will create those things. And you'd be surprised that when I work with clients a lot of the time and you let go of these emotions, anger, frustration, guilt, pain, hurt and shame, physical aches and pains, a lot of people come in with sore neck, sore knees, sore shoulders. And when that emotion disappears, guess what happens to that pain? It's absolutely amazing. And for you guys that are willing to invest in yourself and want to move forward and make a change, then, me sitting here, I would honestly recommend it to anyone. And, again, if it's not for you, it's not for you, and that's okay. You need to find what is right for you and what's going to work for you. But yeah, as I said, let me give you a very, very quick demonstration on how easy it is to remove negative emotions. Now, I'm not going to go through the full thing. I'm just going to cut it down. I'm just going to do a couple of minutes to show you that how quickly and easy it is to let go of these emotions. And a question that someone asked me, and it's very interesting, that it's like, when you let it go, where are you letting it go to? Where does it go? Where does it go? It evaporates, it disappears, and it's weird. It is honestly, and that's one of the biggest comments people say all the time. It's weird. I feel totally different, because it is weird, and you do feel totally different because the energy shifts in your body, and it has a massive impact. When you're not carrying that anger and that sadness around with you, what's that going to do to not only you, but the people around you? They're going to notice that change as well. So as I said, let me show you a very quick and easy mind detox. Now, this is from Carl Smith, so if you've seen it before, if you haven't. But again, let me show you a very quick and easy mind detox that's going to show you guys very quickly and easily how to let go of negative emotions from the past. So again, you're not going to come in and say, this happened to me, that happened to me, this happened to me, that happened to me. You might go to talk therapy or a counsellor or a psychologist, whatever, and they get their clipboard and pen out and they want to know every detail. And that's where this is very, very different. We don't need to know the ins and outs. What we need to do is help you to move forward, to let go of that stuff, and then you want to avoid a void. So after you let go of all the negativity, you then have that void, and that's where you then want to go fill that with all the positive, amazing stuff that's going to help you to move forward. So as I said, let's get into the demonstration. I'll show you guys very quickly. As I said, I'm going to run through it very, very quickly. In a session, it would go for longer, but Beck and I have done this before. And I also want you guys just to have an understanding and to see what it's like as well. So again, Rebekah has been hypnotized by me many times before. She is a great subject, and we can make this happen very quickly and easily. So all I want you to do is just give me a hand, and I just want you to look at this hand. I want you to take a big deep breath in, close your eyes, sink all the way down, drifting, sinking, floating, relaxing, all the way down. The deeper you go, the better you feel, and the better you feel, the deeper you go. No sounds will bother or disturb you. In fact, any sounds that you hear will just allow you to focus more on the sound of my voice. Now again, whether you want to believe it or not, Rebekah is 100% deeply hypnotized. She's not asleep. She's not unconscious. In fact, all her senses are enhanced. She can hear every word that I'm saying, but she's gone into an internal state. They say time flies when you're having fun. When you're engaging in your favorite hobby or your favorite activity, and, it comes to the end of the day and you're like, wow, I can't believe that was 4 hours or 5 hours, or I can't believe it's the end of the day. You have no concept of time. Well, Rebekah's in a very, very similar state to that. Look at it like this. When you're driving down the highway, 3 seconds after you miss your exit, you snap out of it. Well, what did you snap out of it? when you missed your exit and you went, shit, I missed my exit. In that moment, where were you? You're internal. You were thinking about everything else but driving the car. So who was driving the car? The part of you or the program that's built up that runs that behavior for you. And this happens with every behavior. Walking, talking, smoking, eating, drinking. It's become a part of you that runs it automatically. And that's how our mind works, so that you don't have to learn to walk every day. You don't have to learn to drive the car every day. You don't have to learn to count every day. Your mind remembers these things so that you can think about other things and learn other things, right? So when you begin to change those habitual negative patterns, that's when you can really create change. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see it, possibly you can, maybe you can notice in Beck's face as she's deeply hypnotized listening to the sound of my voice that there is a little bit of eye flutter. So rapid eye movement, which is a very telltale sign that she is in hypnosis. Her body is loose, limp and relaxed like a rag doll. No stress, no tension, no worries. And in this state, you can access any resource, any emotion, any memory that you've experienced or encountered in life. So this is what we would do to help you to get rid of negative emotions from the past. Rebekah, what I want you to do, I want you to listen carefully. I want you to go somewhere inside your own mind. I want you to go somewhere mystical, magical, somewhere that's going to allow you to make perfect, positive lifestyle changes. Doesn't matter where it is, maybe it's the beach, the rainforest, somewhere that you like. Perhaps it's somewhere that's made up in your imagination. But I want you to go to that place, somewhere mystical, magical, somewhere that's going to allow you to make perfect, positive lifestyle changes. And when you're there, I want you to just nod. Excellent. So guys, again, Beck's not asleep, she's not unconscious, she can hear every word that I'm saying. And that's another misconception about hypnosis. People think you're asleep, you're unconscious, you're blacked out. But when I work with my clients, you can actually have a conversation with them. You can get them to communicate. So again, what I want, actually, I won't worry about that. But as I was saying, so yeah, she's in a deep state of relaxation. In a mystical, magical place, that's right. So what I want you to do now, Rebekah, is I want you to imagine that right above you, there is a big white light, a big energy source, a big, powerful energy ball right above your head. It doesn't matter what it looks like, because it's your imagination and your imagination only. And what I want you to do is I want you to imagine, Rebekah, that right on the top of your head there is like a valve or a trap door. Again, it doesn't matter what color it is, what shape it is. You possibly couldn't be wrong because it's your imagination. And what I want you to do now, Rebekah, is I want you to just only imagine now what it would be like to let go of all the negative images, thoughts, feelings, emotions, or sensations. Just only imagine now what it would be like to let go of all those negative images, thoughts, feelings, emotions, or sensations. Just only imagine now what it would be like to let go of all those negative images, thoughts, feelings, emotions, or sensations. Just only imagine now what that would feel like. To feel that pressure, that weight, that burden to be lifted off your shoulders. Just only imagine now what that would feel like. For all that pressure, tension, to come all the way through your body. Off the top of your shoulders and out the top of your head, any second now. Just only imagine now what it would be like to let go of the guilt, the pain, the hurt and shame. All that negativity that you've been experiencing. All those things that you've had locked away since you're a little girl. Waiting for the right time and the right place to allow yourself to just imagine what it would be like to let go. To feel that pressure, that tension, that weight, that burden to be lifted off your shoulders. Just imagine it's being drawn out, scraped out, sucked out. Just only imagine now what it would be like for it to be dragged out, scraped out, sucked out, pulled out, piece by piece, element by element, thought by thought, image by image, sensation by sensation. Let it all go. Let it all go. Now what we're going to do now is we're just going to allow Rebekah the next moment or so to herself, however long it takes, remembering that your unconscious mind works in speed, for it to let go of anything else that it needs to. And when you know you've done enough for now, I want you to just open your eyes and notice how good you feel. And just like that, and even doing this little demonstration for you guys, you can see that we've had a reaction. So Beck and I haven't done this for a while, maybe even 12 months. And you can see that whatever came up for her, again, I don't know. Beck knows. And that's the most important thing. My clients know and understand that whatever took place, they've had a change, they've had a shift. And they're experiencing that sense of relief. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pass over to Rebekah, and if she's happy to share what her experience was, what came up, and how she feels now just by doing that very simply and easily.
Basically just went into it very open-mindedly, didn't really think of anything necessarily, and then I suppose something came up, brought a lot of emotion, and then it just went.
It just went. So when that emotion arose, what was that emotion?
Guilt.
Guilt, okay. And how do you feel about that guilt now?
Better.
Would you say it's still there, or is it gone?
It's gone.
Completely gone? I don't know what more to say. Simply and easily. You guys don't even need to believe it, but this is honestly the power of your own mind. And that's what these videos are going to be about, showing you guys, helping you understand that change isn't hard. Change can happen so quickly when you're ready for it, when you're open for it, when you want to make a change not only for yourself, but for your family and the people around you. So as I said, that was just a quick and easy little demonstration, and something arose, and being free from that guilt. Guilt is something that I used to carry around massively. And, maybe she'll watch this video one day. But Becken, she changed my life. I went through my breakthrough experience, and I carried a lot of guilt around. When I was in that tough place, when I was struggling, when I was depressed and suicidal, I was on the phone every single day to my best friend, begging and pleading with him to please help me. And, I went to him miserable for 12 months of my life, 7 days a week for 12 months. I don't know how many friends would put up with that. And he was there for me every single day. And I'll be forever grateful for that. And nearly 12 months to the day, my best friend, he passed away. And that guilt that I had, it was always about me and worrying about me and my life. But, as we know, we were honestly doing the best we can with what we have. And at that point in my life, maybe I wasn't the friend that he needed, but he was the friend that I needed. And, I have that forever, but the guilt that I used to have, and yes, maybe you can see a bit of emotion now because I'm still a human being. I get sad because I loved him and cared about him, and for that 12 months, what he did for me, I'll be forever grateful. But the guilt that I had around his death, going, I'm so selfish, I'm an idiot, all I cared about was myself, I now know and understand that it doesn't have to be that way. I let that guilt go. Same thing. It just evaporated. It disappeared. Where did it go? Where did it float to? What did it transition into? I don't know. But, as I said, there is still, I guess, a level of sadness because I'm still a human being, but it's not the guilt sadness, the grief, the pain that I used to experience. That has totally gone. And, I know that, he was the friend that I needed, and I did the best I could in that situation, and so did he. And as I said, I'll be forever grateful for that. And, knowing that I've had that release to let go of that guilt associated to that event. And like I tell my clients, you know, you've still got that memory, right? That guilt. So whatever it is, I don't even know, but you've still got that memory. I still have every memory. My clients say it all the time. I can still bring up the occasion or the event, but what you're doing is you're detaching the emotion attached to that event. So you can think